Ladies and gentlemen, imagine waking up while the rest of the world is still asleep. No noise, no chaos, no expectations, just you and the quiet power of a new beginning. At 4 a.m., the world hasn't claimed you yet, your doubts are still dreaming, and your excuses haven't opened their eyes. This is the hour where destiny is written, where clarity is born, and where the strongest version of you is waiting to rise. If you've been searching for a moment that could change everything, this is it, because what you choose to do when no one is watching determines who you become when everyone is. Now listen closely, your life is about to shift. When the world is asleep and the night is wrapped in silence, there is a sacred moment waiting for you, 4 a.m. It is not just a time on the clock, it is an invitation. An invitation to rise before your doubts do, to begin before your excuses wake up, and to create a life you will be proud of. At 4 a.m., the mind is fresh, the heart is calm, and the soul is awake. There are no distractions, no pressures, no noise, only you and your potential. Waking up at this hour is not about punishing yourself with discipline. It is about gifting yourself the most peaceful and powerful part of the day. The world around you is quiet, but within you, something begins to speak clarity, purpose, and direction. Imagine starting your day with intention instead of urgency. Instead of rushing, you prepare. Instead of reacting, you reflect. Instead of carrying yesterday into today, you give yourself the space to reset. The stillness of the early morning teaches you something profound. Progress doesn't always require noise. Sometimes it requires silence. When you rise at 4 a.m., you rise with the mindset of someone who wants more from life, more growth, more discipline, more inner strength. Small choices like waking up early shape big results. When you win the morning, you win your day, and when you consistently win your days, your life begins to transform. This early hour is where dreams meet action. Read something uplifting, write down your intentions, meditate and listen to what your mind has been trying to tell you. Exercise and remind yourself that you deserve health, energy, and vitality. These small actions, repeated daily, shape your character and build your confidence. You may not see the change on day 1 or day 5, but soon you will notice that you are calmer, more focused, more determined. You will find that you are no longer controlled by stress. You are guided by purpose. Waking up at 4 a.m. doesn't just change your schedule, it changes your identity. It turns you into someone who leads their life instead of being led by it. All it takes is one decision, to rise before the sun and rise above your limitations. Wake up at 4 a.m. and watch how life begins to align with the person you are becoming. And as you continue this journey, you begin to realize that waking up early is not just a habit, it becomes a reminder of your commitment to yourself. Every morning at 4 a.m., you declare through action that your growth matters, your peace matters, and your future matters. You choose to step into the quiet darkness because you understand that this is where inner light is born. The world may not see you at this hour, but the results will speak for you later. In these early hours, you gain something priceless, time. Time to think before the world demands your attention. Time to create before distractions steal your focus. Time to connect with yourself before responsibilities begin to pile up. This is not about waking up for the sake of waking up. It is about awakening your potential and directing your mind toward what truly matters. As you build this discipline, you start discovering a different version of yourself, someone who is more patient, more resilient, and more intentional. The quiet of the early morning gives you the strength to face the noise of the day. The clarity you cultivate at dawn becomes your compass, guiding your decisions with wisdom instead of impulse. When you give yourself this time, You stop living life on autopilot and start living with awareness. Slowly, you notice that the things that once drained you no longer have the same power. You are calmer in chaos because your mind has already tasted stillness. You are more focused at work because your thoughts have already been organized. You are kinder because your heart has had time to settle. This simple shift of waking up early becomes the foundation for a more meaningful and peaceful life. You might face days when staying in bed feels easier, when motivation feels distant, and when discipline feels heavy. But remember, transformation is not built on feelings, it is built on choices. And each time you choose to rise at 4 a.m. despite the temptation to stay asleep, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of doing hard things. That belief becomes the seed of confidence, and confidence becomes the fuel of progress. With consistency, the impact extends beyond your mornings. Your relationships improve because you communicate with clarity. Your goals progress faster because your actions become deliberate. Your emotional strength increases because you meet your thoughts before the world meets them. Every part of your life begins to shift because you started shifting your mornings. The truth is, waking up at 4 a.m. will not magically solve your problems, but it will prepare you to face them with a stronger mind and a centered heart. It gives you the quiet space to heal, to grow, to reflect, and to rebuild. It reminds you that change is not an event, it is a daily investment. And every morning you make that investment, you move one step closer to the person you were meant to become. So continue rising before the world does. Continue choosing the path that empowers you. Continue honoring the promise you made to yourself in the silence of the early morning. And as you honor that promise each day, you begin to understand that waking up early isn't just a routine change. It is a shift in identity, a shift in how you relate to your own life. At 4 a.m., there is no competition, no pressure to impress, no expectation to perform. It is simply you meeting yourself with honesty. In that honesty, you confront your dreams, your fears, your regrets, and your hopes. You begin to see clearly what truly matters and what no longer deserves space in your heart. This hour teaches you patience. It teaches you that growth is quiet, subtle, and gradual. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives through small, consistent acts of discipline. When you rise in the darkness, you train your mind to rise above excuses. You rewrite the narrative of I can't into I will. Slowly, these early moments carve out a new mind, set one rooted in purpose rather than procrastination. As the days pass, you realize that waking up at 4 a.m. gives you a sense of control over your life. You are no longer rushing through your mornings, stressed before the day even begins. Instead, you move with calmness, you think with clarity, you act with intention. Even challenges feel different because you have already centered yourself before they arrived. You have already built inner strength while the world slept, and something remarkable begins to happen. You start attracting opportunities that match your new discipline. You start recognizing possibilities you once overlooked. When the mind is clear and the heart is steady, life seems to open doors you didn't even know existed. Early mornings prepare you to walk through those doors with confidence. In this sacred hour, you also learn gratitude. You find yourself appreciating the stillness, the soft light before sunrise, the quiet rhythm of your breath. Gratitude becomes a part of your mornings, and soon it becomes a part of your life. You feel lighter because you start focusing on what you have rather than what you lack. With that shift, joy becomes easier to access, and peace becomes easier to maintain. You will notice that waking up early doesn't just change how you start your day, it changes how you end it. You go to bed with a sense of fulfillment rather than regret. Instead of thinking about what you failed to do, You reflect on what you have already accomplished before most people even wake up. That feeling builds pride, the quiet, steady kind that comes from knowing you kept a promise to yourself. And as your mornings become more purposeful, your days become more aligned, and your life begins to reflect the person you always knew you could be. Because every time you rise at 4 a.m., you are not just waking up, you are rising into your strength, your discipline, and your destiny. And as you continue rising into that destiny each morning, you begin to feel a deeper shift happening within you. The quiet discipline of waking up at 4 a.m. becomes more than a routine. It becomes a message to your mind that you are committed to evolving. The stillness of those early hours creates a space where your inner voice grows louder, guiding you with wisdom that often gets drowned out during the day. You begin to understand yourself better, not because life got easier, but because you finally created the silence necessary to listen. In that silence, something beautiful unfolds. You start recognizing the patterns that once held you back. You notice how certain thoughts drain your energy and how certain habits steal your time. You begin to replace them with actions that nourish your mind and fuel your growth. Every early morning becomes an opportunity to reset, recalibrate, and renew your intentions. You realize that the real journey is not about changing your schedule, it is about changing the way you show up for yourself. With every sunrise, you grow more aware of how precious your time is. You stop giving it away to distractions, to people who don't value it, and to habits that don't serve your future. You learn that when you protect your time, you protect your peace, and when you protect your peace, you elevate the quality of your life. This understanding transforms your choices, making you more deliberate and more aligned with what truly matters. As your mornings strengthen you, others may begin to notice a difference in you, a calmness in your presence, a clarity in your thoughts, a purpose in your actions. But they won't understand that this transformation began long before the day started, in the quiet moments when you chose discipline over comfort. You didn't chase success, you prepared for it. You didn't wait for motivation, you created it. You didn't hope for change, you built it one morning at a time. And through this process, you learn the value of consistency. You realize that greatness isn't born from occasional effort. It is built through daily commitment. Even on days when you feel tired, even when the bed feels warm and inviting, you remind yourself that your goals are worth the struggle. Each step you take in discipline becomes a building block of your future. With time, these blocks form a foundation so strong that setbacks no longer shake you the way they once did. You begin to trust yourself in a way you never have before, because every day you wake up early, you prove, through action, that you can rely on your own discipline. This trust becomes the anchor that keeps you grounded when life gets overwhelming. It becomes the courage that pushes you to pursue dreams that once felt too big. It becomes the confidence that whispers, "You are capable of more than you think." And as this inner transformation deepens, you start to realize that waking up at 4 a.m. is not just about the hour. It is about the intention behind it. It is about choosing to rise before life demands your attention, choosing to grow before the world distracts you, and choosing to give yourself the gift of time that no one else can offer.